Morning, bud. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Uh, One thing I want to say immediately is, as we've been doing this, I've started to notice more the differences between me and you in terms of our ability to communicate. Not saying that one of us can or the other, but more of like also showing introverted versus extroverted stuff, because like you're talking about like how like you have notes and you're having to plan this out and stuff, and like I have no fucking clue what I'm going to talk about really before I start, and I'm able to have a little bit more coherent sentences and structure over it, which I find quite interesting. um, I'm quite curious to see if you setting yourself up in the car would do you better for that and that environment thing. I've done pretty much I've done all of mine in my room right here, so I may find that be different for when I start to do it like on commutes and stuff. We started a weird time where I didn't have many commutes that it made sense for me to do it on. So me starting here is a probably very different from what it's going to look like over the summer. But yeah, it's interesting just to kind of talk about that introspective side of things. Good for you for deleting League. You're no longer a degenerate for the. How many hours will it stay off your computer? 72? No, you'll probably have it off for longer. But no, that's good. And I mean, I try to do the same of deleting stuff and try to remove it from my psyche. But again, those breaks are good. But if you find yourself spending too much time on League, then it's probably the way to go. It's funny, I'm on my opposite path where I'm starting to add more of that stuff back on, because like I just finished all my assignments last night, so like I have no more deliverables anymore. I just have my finals, which my first one is Friday. So I have to start to think about that. But I'm starting to add more of that to my routine of like, hey, I can play a game, or I could watch some YouTube, or I can do some other things. So that started to go on. Today we'll probably just be studying and working on some projects. But yeah, feeling a lot better than when I was last time. I was able to take a little bit more of a relaxing weekend. Still get a lot of work done, but take some breaks in it, larger breaks, and have like a day where I didn't do anything. I've also been sick, so there's no way I was going to be able to work through an entire day anyways, but I'm feeling better now. Now, do I feel 100%? No. No. But I wasn't expecting that right now. Oh my god, I'm so stuffed up right now. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting of like how introspective yours was, especially with how the last weekend's been. Um, I don't know how much there is for me to introspect over the last little bit. Like it's been relatively chill. Like this term has been weird. Like I've had to put a lot less effort into academics than I thought I did for this term. Um, it's been a lot of like, oh, I'm having to miss all my lectures this week because of something that comes up in one of my other responsibilities, and then I got into the habit of just not going to lectures, and then I get to midterms, and you saw me the week before midterms, and I was getting some studying done, but I basically for each of my midterms taught myself the course the day before, and I did great on them. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know I could do that. That's kind of weird. Now, I not something that I should continue doing, and do I fully understand the content? No, but I was lucky I got through it, and I'm kind of doing the same. Like I'm able to kind of like cheat my way through. Not cheat, but um, fake my way through it, and now I have my much longer period of time to teach myself the content, which is good because I need it. But yeah, it's been interesting. This term's been interesting. I'm so excited to be done. I want to be out of here. In terms of projects, though, a lot of the project ideas I have in mind are either like, my two ones that I have right now are my low-level graphics project, which is pretty cool. I'm coding in C or maybe C++. forgetting right now. And dealing with it on that side. So that made me a little bit too low level. And the other one is like possibly like building my own computer and some robotic stuff. So that's also pretty low level. But like I'm also looking into doing a lot of Raspberry Pi work and doing like front end API work using these, which does have a lot of high level stuff. And like the low level side I can completely just take over. But if anything makes sense for me to do at that point in time, depending on what, I don't know what tools and stuff I'll have out in Australia. I don't know if I'll have access to a 3D printer. I don't know like, what I'll have access to outside of work. So we'll see. And that can greatly limit my projects, and I may have to do full software-based projects, which I'm okay with. But yeah. I don't have a whole lot else to talk about, to be honest. Like, I've started to get back into disc golf a bit, start to be a little bit more physical. Things are going well on that. That's helping my mental health for sure. Things are pretty good in general. Like, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's a lot of just little things here or there. Now I need to think about my list of topics that I was going to talk to you about. I mean, you're looking for a co-op right now. You originally said you were wanting to go into database management systems, but I don't think, if I recall correctly, that's not what you want to do anymore. And also, like, you're talking about all your like philosophy stuff, which, I mean, that random saying that you brought up, fortune cookie style, very philosophy major bullshit. But yeah, it's funny that you have those two things together, and thinking about it more, the one that comes to mind the best would be AI ethics, as a combination between your CS and your philosophy. That is something that we need a lot of today. I mean, companies are firing their whole AI ethics teams for God knows why. Because, of course, the time where we have the best language models of all time, decades before I thought we'd have them, that's when you should fire your AI ethics team. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see your thoughts on that as a career aspect and the things that you need to learn to go into it, because I don't know it well enough. Like, ethics bodies to me feel just like when I think of an ethics body, I think of a group of old fucks that sit in a room and say, nah, that's good, or nah, don't do that. And that's about it. And make bank doing it. So, I don't know. It may be cool to think about it. It may be a cool way to bring both your techie side, which you have a lot of, and your more, I don't know, thinking, what's the term? The soft skills that come with philosophy. Philosophy. People want to say psychology, philosophy. Though psychology would probably be helpful, which I also know we talk about often enough. But in terms of a career, I don't know what the career path looks like for that. I don't that seems like something you would have to start going into, like, masters on AI and stuff, and really dive into what these models are looking like, have a good understanding, so that you know what the fuck you're talking about. But again, I have no idea. It's not a path that I'm looking at. I thought I'd go into AI stuff for a bit, and I mean, I did a job that was mostly working with AI. Now I was doing the hardware side of it, but I was working with AI and setting up systems to train them. But it didn't interest me enough as I thought. It's a lot of menial work that just may not go anywhere, and you need a lot of Like, I think the only interesting part of AI would be research, which is a lot more school than I want, and a lot more math than I want. So I don't think I'm going down there. And just training models and setting models up is really actually fucking boring. Using models that other people train, now that's cool. And setting up systems that use those models and the hardware and whatever and the vision systems and so on and so forth, that's cooler. The actual model training is really fucking boring. And there's so many people in my program who are going to mechatronics, realize that they're really just software engineers who kind of like electrical stuff. And then they all go into software, and then they all try to do the AI option, which is like a specialization. And then the majority never do AI. Like, there's so many people all wanting to go down AI as a route. And I'm like, y'all, first of all, there's not that many jobs in AI. Yeah, there may be tons, but right now there isn't. And two, it's AI is cool, but the actual job is not that cool. So there's been a lot of that where I've been looking at like what my peers are going after, and all of them are all this Cali and bust, FANG, software, big company jobs where you're going to make bank, but also spend a shit ton of money to live in California. And I'm like, I don't want that, because your work-life balance sucks ass. Your code very well may not even touch production at any point in time. Like, I've heard so many stories of people going to work at Facebook and they got their first PR approved that went on to Facebook 10 years into working there. That sounds awful. I would hate myself. Versus, like, I've had PRs approved and, like, weekly at my small companies I've worked at every co-op. Not Toyota, my project probably didn't go anywhere, but that was another big company working on a random research project. I'm used to my projects like that not going anywhere, but like the idea of not actually having an impact for that long sounds awful to me. And research like that seems like it's very much a possibility. Now, I can see myself going into like a bit of engineering research, like big prototyping and stuff. I mean, I look at the teams that I had in there, more R&D teams, if that makes sense. Like, hey, we have this really cool tech. Let's do something different with it than we usually do. Make something funky, which is what I've basically done at most of my companies, and that's really cool. But I don't know. I'm more just rambling about future and jobs and whatever, and I still don't know yet. Like, I did a lot of high-level stuff with Python and all that stuff, and then I got pulled into low-level spaces and figuring out what this fucker does. And that's kind of cool. But I'm like, I don't know how much lower I want to go. Like, do I want to go to silicon chip development? Probably not. That's too abstract for me right now to really understand if that's what I want to do. But, like, firmware development would be cool. But that seems like still like such a black box that, like, I know a lot about it, but I also, like, don't know where to get started, and companies aren't hiring me to do that yet, so I may need to do a few more projects in that space to get looked at for that. But I don't know, working for a big company where you're doing their firmware for like GPUs or whatever would be kind of funky, kind of cool. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm curious to think about your ideas in terms of the AI ethics stuff, and your thoughts on that. I'm curious on where you think we are on the sigmoid curve of progress in terms of these AI chatbots. Are we just at the beginning of a huge upswing? Are we reaching the end? And what we have with the tools that we have right now, we're going to start to plateau. We're in the middle somewhere. Like, a little bit relating to one of a Tom Scott video from like a few months ago. I'm curious your thoughts on that. Because if you're hard set on thinking we're at the beginning of this curve, then oh boy, the world's going to change really quickly. And two of us, especially in the programming space, are going to have to be ready to change with it. Yeah, curious thoughts, things. Try to be quick responses because I like doing these. I've enjoyed these way more than I thought I would. But there's no pressure to respond as quickly as I do. I was only really checking last time to make sure that you hadn't missed my notification. But yeah, hope you had a good Easter. See you later, bud.